know what grates your customer? Do you know what aggravates your customer? Do you know what really pisses your customers off? This morning when I was in the gym and I was working out, I had a little the tiniest of tiny pebbles in my shoe. And as I walked, it just rubbed between my foot and my shoe. You know what it's like. You just get this tiny pebble and it just rubs and rubs and rubs. Just creates that friction and you get a blister and it's painful and it's ugly and it's horrible and it annoys you. What are the little things in your business? What are the little things that happen in your business where customers question why they should stay your customer? These are called friction points. Friction points are the little things where customers question why they stay your customer. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to JTInTheRaw, show 119. Good morning, Nikki. Morning, Susan. Good morning, Eugene. Good morning, Frosty. How is everyone this morning? Give me a love heart if you're hearing me loud and clear. Good morning. If you are feeling on top of the world, whether you're watching live or on replay, hit me with a love heart right now if you are looking forward to an awesome Friday. So, today's show, if you've never tuned in before, and sometimes we get new people, JTInTheRaw is about me chewing the thin on business, about my experiences in business, things that I experience when I've had a business and things that I experience as a customer. And today I'm going to be talking about friction points. I'm going to be talking about the small things that aggravate and piss off your customer so that they do not want to come back, or they come back with resentment. It's a ripper of a show and it's full of practical ideas. So hang in there, whether you're watching live or on replay. And if you've got to go somewhere else, then hit that little button up over my shoulder there, hit save and come back and watch it lately. Morning, Shano. Morning, Bronny. Great to have you guys here this morning as well. So what I thought I would start off with this morning is a little shout out to a whole bunch of customers of mine. And they're my industry leaders round table. I actually have 4 round tables. I have one for personal trainers. I have one for Anytime Fitness franchisees. I have one for club owners in New Zealand. Actually, I have 5 round tables in New Zealand, Victoria and Australia. And I just want to give these guys a big shout out. They work really hard as a group and they develop this amazing level of trust. And it enables massive openness and disclosure. And over the last few round tables that I've had, I've got 2 more to go in my round of round tables. I've really come to identify the power of a group. And when that group really clicks, really has deep trust, I find that they can be extremely vulnerable with each other. They can really share some innermost thoughts. And over the last couple of round tables, I have had some guys just share massive things in their life. And some of them have said, this is the only place where I feel comfortable sharing. Now, I know you probably think, well, that sounds like an Alcoholics Anonymous group. It's not like that at all. It is a business group. It is a group where we come together and we talk about business. We try to work out how we can get better in business. We're talking about how we can improve every component of our business. But one key component of our business is often you or us as the entrepreneur or the leader in that business. And this group is developing such a level of trust that people feel so comfortable that they will share things, that they will disclose things, because that they know there is deep support from the people that surround them. There's no judgment, there is support. And I've been doing this now for facilitating these meetings. I think I've done over 220 of these meetings now over the last decade. And it's only now that I'm really seeing some real power in working with these groups. There is no reason why you as a business owner can't develop the same trust and that same unity within your team by just working hard on building trust amongst them. It doesn't come easy. It's hard work. And my groups, we work hard every single meeting on building that relationship and building that trust so that they can feel comfortable disclosing. But more importantly, when we have that good relationship, we can ask better questions. We can ask deeper questions about the business. And we're not there coming from a personal perspective. We're coming there from a real supportive position. It's a powerful group. And I just want to shout out to all of my members of the Industry Leaders Roundtable. We have grown so much over the years, and I am so grateful for the effort that you guys put into building the relationship with each other that makes the Industry Leaders Roundtable the most unique program in Australia and New Zealand for business owners to get better. There is nothing like it. There's no cookie cutter approach. I can guarantee there's nothing like it, and I'm so grateful for everything that you guys do to make it an amazing experience. Good morning, Jason Lawrence. Great to have you on board. Hope UFC is going well for you, mate. Good morning, Chantel. Great having you on early this morning. So what I thought I'd talk about this morning is the concept of friction points. In a world we are now hyper competitive, our consumer, our customer is looking for multiple reasons why they can leave us. They're almost not looking for reasons to stay with us. They're looking for multiple reasons to leave us. And when I look at the definition of friction, I looked it up this morning and this is what the computer said. Resistance one object has against another when moving against another object. Friction, resistance one object has against another object when moving against each other. And how do we reduce friction? We can put a lubricant between the two items that are moving so that they move more easily. That reduces friction. Or we can get rid of the bumpy bits altogether and then we smooth even more easily. Morning, Deb. Great to have you on. Friction is a really key point in how we run our business. I want to give you a couple of examples. I was talking to a guy this morning in the gym, and he was complaining to me about the fact that there is no soap in the showers. Regularly, no soap in the showers. Regularly, you turn the hot water tap on, the hot water comes out, and as you take your hand off the tap, there's the tap sitting in your hand, and you've got hot water coming on you. These are friction points in the shower. So the members saying, you know what, I don't want to shower in the gym. I'm going to go home and shower, adding to increased friction points of coming to the gym because now they have to go home and have a shower. That takes time. These little tiny things all impact the experience that the customer has in our business. My mum and dad are looking at buying a new house, looking at moving house. And so speaking with them, the real estate agent said, I'll send you the contract today. No contract today. No contract the next day. This is a friction point in my mum and dad buying the house. They need to see the contract. And what does it say? It says that the agent had promised but hadn't delivered. And when we promise something and we don't deliver it, that creates a friction point between the two businesses. Last week, show 118, I gave a rant about Jetstar. If you missed show 118, put 118 in the comments, 118 in the comments, and I'll send you the link to that show. But that is a friction point. I'll never fly Jetstar again because of the experience that I had. In our business, every day, whatever business we are in, there are small things that occur that create friction between the enjoyment that our member has and what we do. And what I think we can identify, morning Nath, good morning, how are you? Great to see you this morning as well. And what I think for me is there are three real areas that friction points occur in the business that we need to look at. The number one friction point in any business is company policy. Often policies are set up in business for the business. They're not set up with the customer in mind. They're not set up with the customer in mind. A classic example in the health club world, in the gym world, is that you need to give 30 days notice to cancel your membership, or 2 weeks' notice to cancel your membership. That's a friction point for many members. That's a friction point. Why can't you just cancel my membership as of today and stop my debits being processed again? Generally, it's a company policy that we don't do that. That is a friction point. Other company policies that create friction usually exist in banks. Banks have bucket loads of policies that we have to follow, and that creates a friction point between the customer and the business. One classic example that we see in the United States is a bank that was called Commerce Bank, and Commerce Bank had a policy, and it was called "Kill the Stupid Rule." Kill the stupid rule. And what they would say to their tellers is, we want to know all the friction points, all the complaints that you get from our customers. Because if there's a rule that's stupid and doesn't make sense to the customer, we'll get rid of that. And for every time that you get rid of a stupid rule in the business, we will give you, Mr. Teller, $100 cash. So the tellers were sitting with their antennas up, listening to their customers to clearly identify what company policies created friction points between the customer and Commerce Bank. And if they could kill that stupid rule, they would get $100, but the customer's going to be a lot happier. Does this make sense? If this makes sense to you, give me a love heart right now. The second thing that creates a friction point is how you do things. It's how you do things. So a friction point is how we actually do things. For example, in order to join some gyms, I've actually got to come in and have a tour. I can't do it online. For some people, when you want to buy something online, a friction point is multiple clicks. If we can minimize the number of clicks on an online purchase, that reduces the friction points. What in your business, how I've got to do something in business, what in your business actually creates a friction point between you and the customer, the process that we ask. We often find in gyms that we say that you've got to cancel your membership in person. That is a friction point. That could be a company policy, but also it's how. Yeah, we can actually cancel in person, just come on in. But other gyms say that you have to make an appointment. So that process is the how bit, and that creates the friction. That creates angst. So we've got to think about how we do things in business creates friction. And the third component is the actual experience that we have when we are going into that business. One of the classic examples that I see in business is what happens in a 24-hour gym, as an example, when I forget my swipe card and I want to go into the gym. I can't get in. That's a friction point. The only way we can reduce that is improve the technology that we have, so that maybe we've got something on our phone that just allows us to swipe that to be able to get into a 24/7 gym. But that experience is a friction point. A friction point that most banks faced was the long queue for tellers. So what they now have is a concierge in many banks that looks to serve the customer and help the customer before they actually get to the teller. If we think about in New South Wales Services, which is a retail outlet for New South Wales government services, they now have a customer service person. So when you walk in, they reduce the friction in the experience by having you speak with that individual, and then they can send you to wherever you need to go, reducing the friction of the experience. I went in once to do a cycle class in a club, and I really didn't know what was doing and what was going on. And when I got on the bike, someone told me to get off the bike in no uncertain terms because it was their bike. That is a friction point in the experience. Now, if the instructor of that class realized I was on Fiona's or Joe's normal bike, they could have come up to me and said, "Hey, for you to enjoy the experience more in this class, I suggest you change bikes, because the person that always does this class loves this bike. Morning, Special K. That's Tim. Big Tim, how are you, mate? Great having you on board this morning. Morning, Rod. Great to have you on. So these are the things, these little things that happen in our business that create friction for customers. And when you have multiple friction points, I start to question why I'm your customer, why I keep coming back to you. So where are those friction points again? Those friction points are again in your company policies. They're how you do things, and they're the experience that I have when I come into your business. What can you do? You need to reduce those friction points in order for the customer to have an awesome experience in your business. So what are the solutions? It's okay for us to identify those 3 points, but how do we then improve it? Okay, let me give you 3 solutions to reducing the friction points in your business. The first one is massive. It is a massive solution and it takes a lot of effort, but I need you to think carefully about this. The number 1 solution to reducing friction points in the business is walk in your customer's shoes. Walk in your customer's shoes. What is it like to go from endpoint to endpoint within your customer's shoes? That is the question. What is it like to be a customer in your business? And I want you to go through that full customer journey. So if I'm interested in buying your widget, buying your product, visiting your restaurant, becoming part of your coming to your hairdressing salon, whatever your business may be, I might start by doing research and I'm looking at your website. Your website could in fact create friction points for me if I can't find the information that I want to find. If I want to make a booking and it's not easy to make that booking on your website, that is a friction point. And you lose me off your website and then you lose me as a potential customer. To get those friction points out of the business, walk in your customer's shoes. I need you to go through that customer journey from the beginning all the way through to the end and clearly identify where those friction points may in fact occur. Then the second part of that is to develop frequently asked questions. So these are the questions that customers ask around being a member of your facility, about buying your product, about coming to your hairdressing salon, about going to your real estate agency, whatever it may be. Frequently asked questions are critical in reducing the friction points. Now, for me, I love frequently asked questions that are done by video because you can then repurpose that information and it really feels that you can have an authentic conversation with someone. So I'm a fan of the video way of frequently asked questions. It means you can repurpose them. It means you can share them. It means you can do a whole bunch of stuff with it and it creates cut through. And your customer might just watch a 30-second video around how to have an awesome experience inside the business and reduce that friction point. So the solutions for me is simple. Go through the journey that a customer would go through. If you're a gym, start in the car park. Where's car parking? How do I get from the car park into the gym? What happens? A friction point in a gym is I've forgotten how to use the equipment. What do I do? What's the solution to that? So that's a frequently asked question. Then I want you to put that on the website, or I want you to share that via email, or I want you to put that into an app, whatever it may be. There are 2 things that are really easy in business. 1 is to really identify what those friction points are. 2 is to reduce those friction points. I find them easy because I can quite easily walk in the shoes of the customer. I am a customer. That's why it's easy. In my business, in what I do, I struggle. I struggle to identify what are the struggles of people who are becoming active management members. I struggle with that because I understand the system, I understand the process, but and therefore I don't get the friction points. So it's a real challenge for me, as it would be for you, to walk in the shoes of a customer. But that is the key to reducing the friction points. What do you think? What do you think about this concept What do you think about this concept of friction points? Can you understand what pisses your customers off? And when you do, can you then work out how to get rid of that aggravation in order to keep them as a customer? This has to become a goal of what we do as leaders of our business. Remember, friction is the things that slow the relationship down, and we want to put a lubricant in there so it moves more smoothly, or we get rid of that friction point altogether. We either move it or we get rid of it. It's as simple as that. Hey, you've been tuned in to JTInTheRaw. If you think anybody you think could benefit from understanding what friction points are, please tag them in the comments below, because I want them to get a copy of this, and I want them to make their customer experience super smooth, super easy. Just tag them straight in the comments right now with a little @ symbol. Their name should come up, and they'll get a little message to check this out and get an understanding of what friction points are. Okay, so what's happening for me over the next week? I've got another roundtable meeting, so I'm looking forward to catching up with some guys from Victoria who own gyms in Victoria. So I'm catching up with them for their industry leaders roundtable. I've got coffee with JT down in Melbourne. I've got 2 meetings down there, and we've got some really cool stuff happening down there. And I'm going to be facilitating a day of professional development for a chain of clubs down in Melbourne. So I'm in Melbourne on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, working with a whole bunch of different businesses. Can't wait to get down there and spend some time in Melbourne working with these businesses. Okay, you've been tuned to JTInTheRaw, show 119, and I know you are sitting on the edge of your seats waiting with bated breath for quote of the week. Here it comes. Walk a mile in your customer's shoes to find the pebble that causes the pain. Walk a mile in your customer's shoes to find the pebble that causes the pain. Reducing friction points is easy when you can identify the friction points, when you can identify the thing that aggravates, pisses off, or grates one of your customers. When you can find that, then you can fix it. So, walk a mile in your customer's shoes to find the pebble that causes the pain. Thanks for tuning in to JTInTheRaw, show 119. Remember, you can share the show by tagging anybody in the comments below. I'm going to catch you next Friday, coming to you live from Melbourne before I do a professional development day. I will catch you on the flip side. Reduce those friction points. Catch ya.